Is ambition a dirty word?
Pick another word. Pick another word. Freedom, your power is deeper and broader and more impactful than what your job is. We have not done a great job of breaking down the old ways, but we've started to question them. When I got to 17, I was very aware that I was sitting in a borrowed seat. And I really felt like it was my job when I was at 17 to save the magazine business. And I was there during like peak fun era. It was like Taylor Swift and Miley Cyrus and Selena Gomez, Beyonce. But I'll tell you, the Taylor Swift story is pretty good.
Welcome to the Her Agenda podcast. On this episode, I have Ann Shoket. She is the former editor-in-chief of 17 magazine, an author of The Big Life. For over 2 decades, Ann has shaped the national conversation about ambition and success for women. She ran one of the most iconic media brands. 17 magazine was iconic to me. If you're a millennial, you relate. And she gave us the first ever cover with Taylor Swift, Rihanna, and Ariana Grande. Can you believe that? The first covers for these iconic women. But now what she's working on as the founder of New Power Media and owner of Li.st, she is creating spaces for established women to connect, grow, and rewrite the rules. We'll talk a little bit about what she calls togetherness. In this conversation, we're diving into what it really means to build a life on your own terms, the messy middle of ambition, and the power of community and togetherness. It is an honor to have the Ann Shoket here in studio with us today. Thank you, Ann, for being here with us.
I'm so excited to be in person with you, to see you, to sit in your glow.
Thank you.
So
Thank
nice.
you.
Yeah.
And I always say this to you, and I have to say it to the public on camera. It's always like being in the presence of a celebrity. To be with you in conversation, like I read 17 magazine growing up, and then I was a reader model. So we didn't overlap. I wasn't there during your era, but still it's just such an iconic brand. And just to know that you had a hand in it is just like, oh my God, I can't believe it.
We were out there talking to you. That was our goal, was to talk to young women, teen girls and young women about the possibilities for their future and to get them to dream beyond their bedroom.
Yes.
So we were out there talking to you, trying to inspire you. So I'm so glad that like here we are all these years later.
I remember the tagline, life begins at 17.
Yes. I came in to make it fun. It's fun to be 17. I was there during like peak fun era, the early mid 2000s. I started there in 2007. So, it was a fun time. As you said, it was like Taylor Swift and Miley Cyrus and Selena Gomez, Beyonce. Like these were the icons. I have this photo that's sitting on my desk of Beyonce when the I Am Sasha Fierce album came out, and we did an event with her. And the two of us are standing on the red carpet, and we look like we're best friends. And I recognize that Beyonce has not thought about me for 10 seconds since those days. However, I think about her all the time. The photo is sitting on my desk and I'm thinking to myself, like, this is the vibe I want to hold on to.
Yes. And her evolution and your evolution over the past years. So I want to start by getting into this concept of ambition. And it's almost going to make me cringe to say this, but is ambition a dirty word?
Pick another word. Pick another word. Freedom. Do you like freedom? Do you like possibility? Do you like opportunity? Do you like control over your own life? Like these are the things. Take the word. You don't like the word ambition? Take the word out. We don't need to like argue about the word, but it is undeniable that women, particularly millennial women, have big ambitions for their future. They want what they want. That's all ambition is, wanting what you want.
Okay.
And knowing that you have the ability to get it, to get the job, to get the career, to get the life partner, children, maybe not, maybe, whatever it is that you want to do, That is what ambition is. And so it isn't this old idea of like climbing a ladder to the top or even at the top.
Yeah.
I have this argument regularly with the generation of leaders who are ahead of me, right? And they really wanted people to see themselves as leaders and to imagine leadership and to stand at the front of the room. And I really bristle at the idea of that there's only one way for women to step into their power. Your power is deeper and broader and more impactful than what your job is or what someone has to give you a job, right? You have to be chosen.
Yeah.
Your power is greater and deeper than that. I don't want everybody to sit there and think they have to be chosen for some, like, the one job at the top.
Yeah.
So I really bristle at this idea of leadership. It also only really appeals to kind of like the old, I used to say this all the time when I was at 17. It's like the alpha girl who's sitting at the front of the room with her hand in the air. That's the leader. You want the girls who are in the middle of the class, the back of the class, who skipped class. Those are the ones who you want for them to see themselves in power, in success, in ambition, and to break down the old ways. Now, listen, we have not done a great job in the last 10, 15, maybe even 20 years of breaking down the old ways, but we've started to question them.
Yeah.
And we've started to imagine lives that are different and careers that are different and power that looks different.
Yeah. Even the idea of reframing the concept of a word. It's like, if you don't like the word, just think about what is it actually in reality? What are the steps? What does it feel like? What does it look like? Call it what you want, but live how you want, essentially. And speaking of, there was a time in your life where you sort of were waiting for a title, waiting for someone to choose you and pick you. But then you also got a little freedom, a little entrepreneur stuff. And so I'm thinking about your time at Cosmo Girl, where you were in an established corporation, but you were launching a new brand.
Yeah.
And so you had that experience of building a brand from the ground up. You were there for 8 years. And then you pivoted to editor-in-chief of 17 magazine. So then you're at a legacy brand that already is established at the helm. What would you say is the difference between building something from scratch within, a house and also then taking the lead at a legacy media brand that was already established?
Yeah, it's so interesting because I really want everybody to have both of those experiences. The experience where you have an idea and you have to hammer it out from scratch. You have to figure out who's on your team and how are you going to find the resources. Now, when we launched Cosmo Girl, we were at Hearst and we had lots of resources. So it wasn't like scrappy startup days. But we were creating it out of thin air. Yeah.
Essentially, how the C-suite sees it, it's like, you're not bringing in money yet, and so we're going to give you the bottom of the barrel right now.
Yes. When we started, we were 4 28-year-olds standing around an overheated copy machine. Like, we really were just figuring it out. But we wanted to talk to young women about something special. When I got to 17, I was very aware that I was sitting in a borrowed seat. Right.
Okay.
But it was iconic. This was quite a chair, right?
Yes.
This wasn't like a folding. This wasn't a folding plastic chair. This was a throne. But I was very aware that I was borrowing this throne, right? That I was, the magazine was 70 years old, 75 years old, and that I was stepping into a legend. And I was the same person from when I was at Cosmo Girl to when I was at 17.
Okay.
And yet, the ideas that you have when you work at an iconic brand, when you work on a beloved brand, when you work on a brand that has resources and money, those ideas go further faster.
Okay.
And so very often, when young women are saying they can't find a job, they're not finding the thing, I say, build it. Right? Mm-hmm. Build the thing from scratch. Start an idea, make it a side hustle while you have the job that's paying the bills. Make it a side hustle, figure it out. But when you see the money and the power of being in a big company or being in an iconic brand, it will give you greater vision for your possibilities in the world.
Did you see that at the time? Just looking back now at both times, what do you think each of those roles taught you as a leader? Especially now as you're in your CEO era.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I like that. Yes. Coming into Cosmo Girl, I worked harder than I'd ever worked before. We slept under the conference table in the office, and we were like, it's ridiculous. We were like editing pages at 4 a.m. I assure you, no good editing happens at 4 a.m. That was ridiculous. But it taught me how hard I could work, and taught me how to build relationships. Some of the people that I worked with all the way back in those Cosmo Girl days are still some of the people that are in my team and in my circle now. Being at 17 taught me that I could level up, right? That I could have greater perspective, greater opportunity, lead a bigger team. I was at that brand for the better part of a decade, and it also taught me the importance of talking to your audience about what they want to talk about. There was this really interesting shift. Now, you embody this shift, but not everybody is going to see it as clearly as I saw it sitting at 17 or as you did living it. But there was this very dramatic shift that happened shortly after the stock market crash in 2008, where an entire generation of young women had the financial rug pulled out from underneath their families, right? The college wasn't a sure thing. There were no jobs as they were trying to get into the job market. And I saw this really dramatic shift where I was getting questions about mascara and lipstick and dating. And all of a sudden I started to get questions about internships and getting job experience and your resume. And these are young women, teenage girls. And that ambition, whatever you want to call it, wanting control, wanting to figure out how to get what it is that they want. And knowing that they had they had tools that a previous generation didn't have, right? They were at the birth of social media and video technology and all of these things that like the olds were like creaking around about. And that was the spark for this entire generation of young women to see their possibility in the world.
Yeah. And not only internships and things, but also seeing the possibility of starting their own.
Yes, 100%.
And just to make it a little relevant to the Her Agenda audience, we launched Her Agenda in 2008.
Yes.
And so all of that was happening all at once. But I was also doing like 5 internships too. Yeah. It was all the things.
But you were the epitome of that kind of ambition, of that drive to have control over your future at a time where people were like, we don't have the budget, we don't have the jobs, we don't have the bandwidth. And you were like, well, I got the bandwidth. I will figure this out.
And I want to go into, in terms of when you were editor-in-chief, right? It's not just about listening to the readers. It's not just about, content or music or celebrities you think are cool. At the end of the day, with the editor-in-chief hat, you also have to focus on what's going to move these magazines off the shelf. And also get the most amount of bang for their buck in terms of the sponsors and advertisers. Yeah. So there's all these different factors you're thinking about. And still, you had the foresight to understand Taylor Swift, Rihanna, and who else was it that you gave Ariana Grande, their first ever cover. And there's a lot that goes into deciding who gets a cover, right? So talk to me about that. Like, how did you have that foresight? And what do you think that you were able to identify to understand that they had the potential to be icons?
I had an amazing team. Honestly, I do not want to sit here and say this is a one-woman show and I could pick Taylor Swift out of like a sea of hopefuls and decide that she was the one who would get the cover. We had deeply experienced entertainment editors, creative directors, beauty, fashion. Like these were people who were deep in the industry and who were devoted to the 13 million readers of 17. But I'll tell you, the Taylor Swift story is pretty good.
Okay.
I'd been at 17 for a year, maybe a year and a half, and all of a sudden the entertainment director comes in and she says, I think we should put Taylor Swift on a cover. I was like, who is this? Like, I think at the time we were talking about Hilary Duff was a big star at the time, or Ashley Tisdale, both of whom are in the news right now, right? Those were the bread and butter stars of our covers. And Taylor Swift was a country star who hadn't even released her first studio album yet, who had just been like a hit on, this literally is going to sound so crazy old, but a hit on MySpace. Like, not even, that was how.
I thought you were going to say YouTube at least.
No, it was MySpace. And she says, no, this is the star. Look at these numbers. Look how many people. And I think we might have even photographed her without committing, right? Without saying, like, I think we might have said, like, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And the photos came back and she was gorgeous. And the story was so much of the moment that here was a young woman making it on her own terms, was using the technology, was coming out of obscurity to like catapult past everyone who had been in a traditional lockstep system.
Yeah.
And that to me epitomizes this change that we saw in young women. So, and the same thing happened with Rihanna. I remember meeting her at like a meet and greet. She was so young. She must have been like 19 at the time. Mm-hmm. And it was a CoverGirl meet and greet. And we were in Florida and it was sweaty. And she was so shy. And I remember saying to her, I hope that one day we'll be able to put you on the cover of 17. And she just said, yeah, okay, yeah, yes, right? She was like, she must have been, I remember so vividly this moment. She was just shy, but she had like this undeniable spark. Ariana Grande too. She had come through this more traditional, sort of entertainment child star system, but she was like, she was amazing. I remember that cover shoot too, where she really wanted to get it right, and she was practicing her posing, and like, look, everybody has to start somewhere.
Yeah. Still relevant, still around today, just all in different levels and different ways, as you are too. I do want to linger on this era a little bit more though, because at that time too, and you talked about MySpace, there was a massive shift happening in media where everything was going from print to digital.
Yeah.
No one knew what the heck the internet was. Everybody was trying to figure it out. Similar almost to now, where everyone is still trying to figure it out. There's still shifts happening with the rise of AI and whatnot. But I want to talk about that time. What was the hardest part of that transformation? And what did you learn about staying relevant while everything around you is changing?
So the funniest part about this story is that I was that digital vanguard.
Okay.
When I was 25 years old, I had a startup.
Oh.
I say startup. It was a side hustle, digital startup when people were like, what's that? A website? And it got covered in the New York Times. So whatever it was, we managed to pop enough at 25 years old that we had a website that was covered in the New York Times. When I went to Cosmo Girl, we were the first magazine and website to launch together.
Okay.
When I was at 17, as I said, we were partners with MySpace and Facebook and Snapchat, and we were the first. Like, we were the biggest, at the time, we were the biggest women's brand on YouTube. And all of those digital transformative changes happened because they happened to young women first, right?
Okay,
they happened for teens and young women first. And we were there shaping the content, going where our audience wanted us to go. And I have this bigger conversation that you're pointing at around what happened in the media, what is happening in the media business is really about being brave, being innovative, but it's about having a conversation with your audience. Now, there are a lot of ways to have that conversation, right? Digital, social, video, print, like in person, right? Live media. But what are you talking about? Because that's what really matters. Like the through line in all of these different platforms is how do we talk about connection? How do I make you feel seen and supported and successful? Like those are the key words for every step along the way. How do I fuel your ambition and make you feel like power is within your reach? Those are the important points of the conversation. Now, you have to be where the media is to make to have the conversation, right? And that's just about being curious and being fearless and taking next steps and surrounding yourself with people who are also curious and brave and innovative.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm hearing you say, essentially the message matters and having a real something to say and to connect greater than what the distribution channel is, greater than what the format is. And I will say, I'm not on every social media channel, but somehow, some way, I'll see something from another channel make its way to the channel that I am looking at, because if something resonates, people will want to amplify and share it no matter where it lives and exists. So all of that to say, that's amazing, but also, how do you feel about that in parallel with what's happening with AI now in media?
So I'm really curious to see where we're going to go with AI.
Curiosity.
No, it is. But I'm also, and I say this because I know there are other people out there who are feeling this too. Yeah. I feel deeply fatigued by social media. And
Same.
I feel like it's another job that I'm not getting paid for. And I feel like it is a drain on my time and attention, which is in short supply. Particularly, I now have an 11-year-old daughter who is like, get off your phone, get off your phone, get off your phone. And I'm like, okay, like I have to walk what I say to her, get off TikTok, get off, what are you doing? And so it's personal to me. I recognize that there is a business model for being on social media and delivering your content and your message there. But I also personally feel a pull away. I feel myself pulled towards more in-depth conversations like this one, like the ones that we have in our community. AI, I think, really presents an interesting opportunity. I think we're in a phase right now that feels very much like those early days when 25-year-old Ann Shoket had her website in the New York Times. It feels like the same energy. Let's throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and see what sticks. And I think we will get to a more mature and evolved place with AI quickly, faster than we did then. I'm not interested in the fear that's going around AI. I don't think that this is something that we can fear. I don't think you can put the genie back in the bottle. I don't think we should. I think you want to experiment and grow. But I'll tell you, as a writer and a communicator, I launched a Substack.
Okay.
A minute. Like I was like, let me try. Let me you don't have to go there. It's like I was just wanted to try and see what it was.
Check
and
out her Substack.
No. Because I stopped doing it. Because I was like, let's see if AI can write me a Substack post. Okay. And it did. Claude wrote me a great Substack post. And I was like, oh, I'm not interested in doing this anymore. Now that I know that that Claude could write my Substack. So, and I'm also the same thing. I feel so overwhelmed. Like I thought I had refuge in LinkedIn to be like a place of ideas and professional communications and conversations. But now I'm just overwhelmed by everybody's AI. Like they have one
AI
idea,
post,
drop it in AI, and it's a whole long post. And I don't want to go there. And so I don't know. I'm gonna let
you don't have the solution, but like you said, we're at the beginning of this and everyone's trying to figure it out.
Yes.
I think what's important is, like 25-year-old Ann did at the time, is to just jump in, try, hate things, love things, but just jump in and try.
She was very cute, 25-year-old
I also love Claude, by the way. I started with chat and I have evolved to use Claude. Yeah. I love Claude. Yeah. They each have their own kind of roles. I want to jump back into your personal, actually. We didn't really talk too much about the personal. We kind of hinted, but 34 years old, you're editor-in-chief. Yeah. That's huge. That's super young to be editor-in-chief, actually.
I think I was the youngest editor-in-chief at the time.
And on the personal side of your life, you were 35 when you met your now husband, 39 when you got married, 40 when your son was born and 42 when your daughter was born. None of that matched the timeline that you had in your head.
Yeah. Or the timeline. I don't know if I had a timeline. I'm not like a super 5-year planner.
Really? Okay.
No, I'm like, let's go. Oh, what's just like the curiosity. Oh, that's interesting. Let's go try that. Oh, that's curious. Let's try that. I'm not a super planner, but it certainly wasn't the timeline that my mother.
Yes.
My mom used to tell me all the time that she was very late in having babies. She was 28. That is like not, but that was late for her.
Yeah.
All her friends got married and got pregnant out of high school. And for 28, it was late at the time. At the time, 40, when I had my son, that was late. But I feel like so often now people are looking at 40 and they go, okay, I'll figure it out when I'm 40. So we are, like the timeline has to evolve.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make it easy.
How did you navigate that pressure then from family, from society? Did you ever yourself feel like, well, maybe it's not going to happen for me? And how did you navigate those moments?
I made a plan B a little bit. Like I had not, again, I'm not a 5-year planner, but I made a little plan B. What happens if I don't find a partner? Okay, so I'll have a couple of boyfriends in a couple of different cities and we'll find what we need. I'll find the people that I need to be in my life and lean into my friendships. What happens if I can't have my own children? Okay, there are things that we can do around that, right? There are ways to build relationships that support you and family that fuels you that doesn't look like anybody else's traditional idea. The one thing that I knew, though, was that I got a lot of value, a lot of personal value, which is also like therapy. Should we have some therapy here? I got a lot of personal value out of work.
Yes.
Because work for me it's not a like workaholic. It's an expression of my inner ideas and my inner thoughts. And so I knew that if I was like, listen, I'm not going to go for these ambitious jobs because I'm never going to find a partner.
Okay.
That actually was a choice. When I was up for the role at 17, I thought for a brief second about not applying because I really wanted to focus on finding a partner. But thankfully, my best girlfriend said to me, like, well, that's not working for you. Like, you're leaning into dating all that you want. It's not helping. Lean into the job for a minute. And I don't want to say that the pieces just magically fell into place because it was all work. But I think they fell into place in order. That I needed to get the big job to prove to myself that I could do it. And then I got to a place where I could attract the partners that were right for me. Like it's weird to talk about it now. It's weird to like look back because my husband is so deeply my partner in life. And it feels so much different now than it did when we were like just getting to know each other and trying to figure it out. We have like these, and it feels so different to talk about trying to have kids now that I'm trying to figure out what it means to have 2 tweens. And so it's like a totally different dynamic. And yet I also remember so vividly those like the what ifs. There's a chapter in my book, The Big Life, called Stop with the What Ifs, because those are not helping you get anywhere. What if you don't find the partner? What if you don't have children? Like all of those things don't help you. All of that agonizing isn't helping you get those things.
So that's what not to do. What should you do? You talk about getting rid of the shoulds. You talk about not talking about the what ifs. You talk about, embracing the mess.
Yes.
And that is great. But what does that look like in practice, at least for you personally? Did you have like weekly wind downs with your girlfriends just to like ruminate and dream? Did you do kind of Post-it notes everywhere of like hopeful quotes? Like what was your rhythm to make sure you stayed hopeful, optimistic? You didn't get drowned by the weight of trying to make it all make sense.
I didn't hate dating. I really didn't. I know that some people, and maybe this is another thing, is this was before, I didn't do like, there were no apps. It wasn't digital. I wasn't on, so I just was like.
You met your husband at a bar.
I met him at a bar on the Lower East Side. Like neither of us was meant to be there. It's so interesting. And I recognize that is rare, right? But I really enjoyed a lot of dating. I enjoyed like many parts of it. The meeting new people, the learning, the experiencing things together. And so I think that my focus was on just moving forward in order to find the partner. I didn't feel despair. I did have great, strong, amazing friends who I leaned on. I had a career that I was really excited about. And I just kept moving forward. I mean, I don't know what your other choices are. I don't think it serves you to
tread water.
I don't think it serves you to unwind the parts of your life that are working for you in order to find something else. I don't know.
I get what you mean.
Listen,
don't dismantle your life to try to fit a new piece in. Just build the life and have that new piece complement and enhance it.
Yes. I hope that everybody who's listening, like, please don't at me.
Don't quote you.
Don't at me.
Meanwhile, we have you on video.
This doesn't work. But listen, I don't want to say, I don't want to minimize the importance of finding a partner, but the partner doesn't have to be the one person, right? Your partners can be your friends, your colleagues, your coworkers, your co-founder, right? All of those partnerships are important.
Yeah.
The relationship that you are building with yourself and proving to yourself that you are worthy of love, loving yourself, worthy of attention. All of that is just as important as the relationship with a partner.
Yeah. And so you had the career, you had the relationship, the family, and then you decide, I'm going to be an entrepreneur.
Well, I don't know if I decided or it decided for
or
me.
how did that come about? You know, you had the legacy media job, you wrote a book, and you're a mom, you have a family, everything. And then you're like, I am starting my own company and acquiring a company as well.
Yeah.
What was that process like? How did you come into where you are now?
Let's see. How do I describe this? I love being an entrepreneur.
Okay.
However, it was not part of my plan.
Okay.
When I left 17, I knew that I wanted to write a book. I also thought that I was going to land another media job. I really did. I'll tell you about the best day of my life.
Okay.
You asked me about like the media business and about all the pivots and all the changes. And I really felt like it was my job when I was at 17 to save the magazine business. Like I was like, how are we going to get girls to go to the newsstand and to buy the magazine and to build a brand in digital media? And I spent a tremendous amount of time trying to solve those problems. And the day that I realized that those were no longer my problems to solve was the best day of my life. When I realized that my problem to solve was, how am I going to say the things that I want to say to young women, to the next generation? Magazines have their own problem, right? The business is we can see now it's like a decade later and the magazine business is like nowhere to be seen, right? And it was not my job to solve their problems anymore. But my job was to find new places to have that conversation. So that was the big life. How do I talk to this generation of women who were changing what it means to be powerful and successful in the world, for changing ambition? How do I talk to them about building the next phase of their life, the post-high school, post-college, first part of your career, finding the partner, building the relationship with yourself? That was the big life. The next piece, I spent years I loved it so much that I spent years traveling the country, talking to young women, building these pieces out. And then I realized I wanted to put what I had been talking about into practice. And so I launched New Power Media, which is designed to connect companies that want to support next generation talent with the young women who need that support and entree. Out of that, then all of a sudden, I launched this business. We were, you're getting everything. I'd been building out a events-based, summit-based. Remember when we were all going to summits like 2018, 2019? I was building out summit and event and conference-based business. And then we had a pandemic.
Yeah.
Nobody is spending dollars to put hundreds of young, ambitious women in a room together. You remember these days? I get the sweats just thinking about March 2020. Like my whole body starts to shake. So I needed to pivot again. Think about how am I going to find a new way to get this message out? The opportunity came up to acquire the Li.st.
Okay.
I had been a member of the Li.st. You and I have been members of the Li.st. together. I'd been a member since 2015-ish or so. And it was this amazing community that I depended on so much, especially during those early days of the pandemic when our eyes were all rolling in our head and we were imagining our careers disappearing and we didn't know who to turn to or what to do. This was a community that was deeply devoted to each other. And the founders decided to move on. And I, one, wanted to see the community continue. Yeah. And two, had built this huge community around the big life, this huge millennial community. And it made sense. This was the generation, these were the women who were the pioneers, who had paved the way for millennial women to step into their power. These were the folks who had been breaking the rules. I say about the Li.st that it is these are high-profile, high-impact people who are devoted to helping each other achieve and succeed, and who are united by the drive to do big things. We're not here to help you get promoted. I don't want to see incremental change. I'm not here to help you make tiny little changes. I want to see monumental sparks. I want to see big moving things happen because of this community and because they come together and because they're unlocking opportunities. And when I say that's what happens, right? That's what happens in this community. It is really unbelievable. So it made sense to acquire the Li.st. And what I very intentionally began to do was to build a team of support around me, because here I am we're all in our home offices now during the pandemic, and you need a team of support around you.
Yeah. And building community, it seems easy, I think, when people look at it on the outside. And you've done that intentionally from when you were at the helm of 17 and Cosmo Girl. You've done that on your own with the, what do you call them? The Badass Babes dinners and building the big life, and then New Power Media, and now continuously through the Li.st. How do you build community with intention and keep it authentic and keep it where people are showing up and giving, and it needs to run without you doing a thing or pushing a button?
Yeah. The most important question to ask yourself is, why are you here? What are you doing here? When I was at 17, I would imagine that all of those 13 million readers could fit into a high school gym together, and that we were best friends. Like, we were there to be friends for each other. I wasn't there to be their agony aunt. I wasn't there to be their all-knowing big sister. We were buddies going through all of this together. Around the big life, we were united by this drive to do something big, to see our ambition rise in the world. And that was the connective tissue. So when I acquired the Li.st, that was the question I asked myself. Why are we here? I get it. It's it's super high profile people, right?
Yeah.
It's Monica Lewinsky, it's Shonda Rhimes, it's Jodie Cantor, right? These are movers and shakers and players and game changers and bold-faced names. Why? What are we doing here? And I realized that we are here together because it is very lonely to be a high-achieving, ambitious woman. The world is not built for you. The world is not built for me. The world doesn't know what to do with us. There is not advice out there. You want to be in community with people who see the world the same way you do and who want to help you succeed. That is why we are there. We are there because it is lonely, and we make the world less lonely together. So that sparked for me. It was not enough for me to see it in the community. I wanted to see it in the numbers. So we did some research with some outside partners and a big giant research firm. And 80% of women report being lonely because of their jobs. Not just at their jobs, lonely because of their jobs. And then that loneliness, overwhelm, lack of support, feeling unseen, particularly for women of color, it's amplified by feeling like you can't show up to the workplace and be your authentic self.
Yep.
Right? All of this is a cascading effect, rolls over into other parts of your life. Phrase the relationship with your partners, phrase relationships with your family, because they're not your friends and family aren't understanding the same pressures. They didn't have your mother, your aunt, they didn't have the same pressures that you are facing.
They could leave work at work. You can't do that.
Right.
As a leader, as a disruptor.
Right. We were also able to unlock some of the solutions to loneliness in our research. And it's these tiny little micro habits of connection. We have let our muscles really atrophy, our togetherness muscles really atrophy. And it's these tiny little bits of connection. 10 minutes a day. If everybody spent 10 minutes a day intentionally building their network of support, we would decrease a 20-year decline in time spent together by 50%.
Okay.
I wear this little bracelet, 10 minutes to togetherness, to remind me to do my 10 minutes a day. I'm going to give it to you.
Thank you. So nice. And it matches my outfit.
Yes. And this is your reminder. So tomorrow, I hope you remember to do your 10 minutes, reach out to someone and say, how are you? You've been on my mind. Someone who you saw in a meeting and you thought to yourself, oh, that's an amazing idea. They didn't get the flowers that they deserve. I want to tell them that they did a great job, right? Or reach out to someone who you know is having a tough time and say like, hey, I'm just checking in. Like, how are things?
Yep.
And that keeps relationships warm. You know that there are people, if you're doing that for other people, those people are going to do it for you.
Yeah. And shout out to the Little Words Project.
Yes.
For collaborating on this togetherness.
Another amazing entrepreneur, Adriana Carrig of Little Words Project. Amazing entrepreneur and our partner in this work.
Well, I love that we're ending on a note of action. Just 10 minutes, take 10 minutes to reach out to your network, check in, see how they're doing. And that can help make all the difference of helping you feel good, build connection, build community. It doesn't have to be a big to-do, a big dinner. You don't have to go out and hit the streets and get all dressed up. Just send a text.
That's
make
the
a
best
quick call.
You don't have to wear shoes. Like, it's my favorite thing. I after all those years in corporate media when I was wearing stilettos and my feet are still hurting now a decade later, like the best part of this is like you don't have to even put on shoes to feel support and connection. 10 minutes to togetherness.
Yeah.
And this is the through line of this whole conversation about ambition and success. You cannot do it alone. No one gets anywhere alone. You need a team of people who are devoted to you, to want to see you rise. And that is the message of the list and the message that we want to put out into the world for everyone.
Thank you. It was such an honor to talk to you today in person. And to hear your advice, your story, your insights. Thank you so much, Ann.
Thank you. I loved it so much.
Yay.
You are the greatest.
Thank you. And I will say also, we have a gift for you.
No.
It was an honor to have you, and we have something to acknowledge that honor.
Oh. Oh, it's so great. It's so amazing. Oh, can I open it?
Edmund's honor.
Can I open it?
Yes.
I'm very excited about this. It is amazing. It is Friday night. There will be a cocktail. I have to say, I'm super, all this conversation about folks not drinking anymore. I do think it's like, great. It's smart. Like we should all have health. But I love.
Celebrate sometime.
I love
a
cocktail. And it also is a really important piece of togetherness.
Yes. So thank you for the honor.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Her Agenda podcast. You can get all the details and show notes on heragenda.com. Since 2008, Her Agenda's mission has been to bridge the gap between ambition and achievement. And we hope today's episode did just that. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it, tag us on social media at Her Agenda, or leave a review or all of the above. Until next time, see ya.